What's up everybody and welcome back to the channel. In this video for the First Descendant today, we're talking about my updated version of the farm that I do to be able to get as many Void Abyss metal fragments as possible per hour so that I can interact with the weapon core system in the game. Of course, what I'm referring to is in the game itself, there are two new items which you can craft. Both of these are important if you want to start messing around with weapon cores on your weapons. The first one, the more expensive one, is a core binder. Core binders are 2000 Void Abyss metal fragments a pop, and you need one of these per ultimate weapon that you want to unlock so that you can actually put weapon cores into the weapon. So this is a once-off fee and it's 2000 per ultimate weapon. Then you need core particle disruptors as well, since this is the item that you use to re-roll weapon cores on your weapons if you find higher tier ones and you want to actually re-roll them or roll to a different affix or something like that. So both of these items are super important, and what lies behind them is Void Abyss metal fragments. Now, what is very important, and I've made, I think, at least 2 videos on this, but at the very least one, is that we need to be able to farm these bad boys super efficiently. Now, there's practically 2 ways for you to get your hands on these. First and foremost, you can fight the Abyss bosses at this moment in time. Defiler is up for grabs, or you can do 400% dungeons. Now, the previous video that I mentioned that I made, which I'll link in the description or maybe the comment below or something, I was basically saying that you can either farm Defiler with Bunny, or you could basically do 400% dungeons. And my statement was that it is far better to farm Defiler, since Defiler drops a higher amount of these tokens. If you are doing 400% dungeons, however fast you can do them, that's cool, but the point is you're only pulling out 20 at a time, so it was going to take forever for you to get that. If you want to catch up on the math of that and everything like that, then please go ahead and check out the other video. That was before we all realized just how busted Ines is and how good she is at killing Defiler. Now, I also have a build video on Ines, but basically there is a boss build for her that looks like this, which works exceptionally well on Defiler. I would say it works exceptionally well on any, let's say, Void Intercept boss that's weak to electric, but especially on Defiler, since he's kind of like the one that you want to put on farm right now. So this is essentially the build that you have to use. My build video has specific reasons for why we include each one of these mods, but this is the build that I've been using to farm pretty much everything from the Defiler. I've messed around a bit with Valby, like I said, I've messed around a bit with Bunny, but Ines is by far, the most efficient, and I'll get to the maths of that just now. Just as a quick little side note, I want to say that I've been getting a massive amount of comments on my videos about Ines saying, dude, copied your build exactly the same way. But when I look at my skill critical hit rate, it's not 99 or 100 or capped, anything like that. It's 36% or it's 34% or something like that. What the fuck is going on? As you can see here, you can see that mine is also 36%, but that's because I am checking it in Albion. As soon as you deploy out into the field though, I'm just standing in Kingston right now and I go here, we can see whammo, now mine is 95.6, which is pretty much my stat. I don't overcap mine or get mine to 100. 95.6 is exactly what I'm looking for, and that is here. It's a very simple reason for this. The ability from her passive, which basically gives you increased critical hit rate based on your MP, is not applied in the city. It's as simple as that. So don't fall for the mistake of looking at this inside the city and then thinking, wait a minute, something's fucked up, I'm not using the right mods, anything like that. That's the simple reason for it. Deploy into a dungeon, deploy into a boss fight, deploy anywhere else in the world except Albion, even the lab, and you'll see your true critical hit rate, which is affected by the passive and its multiplication of MP. So right, getting on to the actual maths behind how fast it is to do this with Ines, I did a sample size of 50 runs because I essentially wanted to see, how close we could get in terms of like an average amount of time that it takes you to finish the run, but also just to space out and see how many of these mats you get per, because the range is quite big. In certain cases, you can get as low as 50 or 51, and in some cases, I've had over 70, like 74, 75, around there or something. So it's a pretty big range. Bottom line is that across these 50 runs that I used for my sample size, my average completion time of this boss fight was 54 seconds. Now, there's some things that you can do to improve this time, which I will mention, and I'm actually going to do one of these runs live in this video so that I can also give you some pointers on if you are dying a lot or if you're not actually making it through the fight and what you can do to make it through. but 54 seconds was my average, and then I was pulling out an average of 62 of these mats per run as well. Okay, and what that basically then equates to is you're looking at essentially 32, let's just call it 33 kills that you need to get. For 33 kills, you get 2,000 of the material, which means you can craft one core binder, or you can craft a fuckload of the reload material if that's what you're looking for. So if it's 33 kills that you need, it means that it's going to take you pretty much like just around 29 minutes and some change to essentially farm up one core. So this is a half an hour per core, so 2 hours worth of effort will net you 4 cores. I don't know how many ultimate weapons you are planning on unlocking. I'm definitely not going to do all of them. I don't think there's a fucking reason to. I mean, down the line, probably something like that. They might even change this and make this easier and cheaper, which will of course, you know, change things up. But for now, I've got like an idea of like 5, 6, maybe 7 weapons that I want to give a try. And that means that for the low barrier of entry of like 3 hours or something like that, of course, you can get these weapon cores done. Now I do, or rather the core binders done. I do also just quickly want to mention something. Of course, guys, we're talking about Ines, right? So the point is you would also need to spend the effort of actually farming Ines and then, you know, carrying her up and basically fully catalyzing her. So that is the barrier of entry, really. That's the thing. However, if you don't want to do that, you can absolutely use Bunny. Previously, I had shared this in my previous video. Again, go check that out. You can totally do it just flying around with Ultimate Bunny with high voltage. The kills are a lot slower. You're coming in at about 2 minutes or something like that. So using that logic, knowing that it comes in at about 2 minutes, the point is you should then just know that this is going to take you then twice as long, or possibly just a little bit more than twice as long, if you don't want to use Ines. Now I'm actually going to just attempt a kill now live and actually just walk through it. I'm going to talk and play at the same time. Hopefully it doesn't go completely tits up. But I do also want to mention that you can see here that they are some of my times, and I know that it's like super small, so maybe I just zoom in like even like a little bit more, maybe something like, yeah, I think that's okay. You can see that I get as low as 36 seconds sometimes, and I, you know, sometimes go over a minute. And that's because the reality is not every fight with this boss goes the same. Sometimes you fuck up, sometimes he poisons you, sometimes you step wrong, sometimes, you know, bad shit happens, and that's the point. So sometimes it's going to be faster than it is other times, but the main thing is over time this will kind of like pay dividends. Okay, so zoning into the fight, the most important thing is to get into position underneath the boss as fast as possible. You want to be clearing this first area super fast. And that's because you want to be in position kind of like behind him before he drops in, so that you can pretty much avoid any kind of potential damage that he might be throwing at you from the beginning. So as soon as the boss lands in, you're going to start from behind him, and you're just going to keep hitting your Q, your first ability, your one ability. And you're always just going to try and like stick behind him. Now this is the first kind of attack that he uses, and he makes this kind of like defiled zone on the ground. You can stick to the outside of this all the time, still avoiding swipes and things like that, but you will notice that eventually you will take some damage. If you stick close enough to him like this, you'll notice that you get your down state here, and at this point in time you can get a lot of damage into him. All this time you can still damage him up until this point, as soon as he spawns the adds. Then I would dip out, and I would essentially start moving around. Now that purple smoke that you saw there just now is his AoE that he makes as soon as you get too close to his feet. There you see I got downed, but I still also managed to secure the kill. Now, ideally I would have wanted to not down there, but this is an example to you as to if you get too cocky, if you get too close to the AoE or something like that. But the bottom line is, I believe this is probably like a 36 or there we go, a 39-second kill. And we got 68 of the material. Of course, we need to walk our ass back up there and go pick up the rest of the stuff. But pretty much just showing that as an example, and maybe I'll even do a second one quickly just to see how it turns out differently. You can see there that the crux of it is that you essentially have to try and I know this is going to sound weird the way that I'm explaining it, but you want to stay as close as possible to him to be able to close the distance for your orbs to travel in between you and him, because the closer that distance is, the faster you can load them in, and the quicker they deal damage, meaning the faster he dies. So doing it as from a max distance is going to just net you a much slower clear speed, and it's also going to allow him to shoot at you with the arm cannon. So you want to be as close as possible to him, so he's trying to stomp you and kind of like walk around you the whole time. But at the same time, in his second phase where he's like enraged, you want to watch out for that fucking AoE that he drops, the purple smoke. Now, the best way to avoid the purple smoke, as you saw me do it, is to use elevation to your advantage. So kind of try to steer. See, even there, he just got me with the swipe because I'm not concentrating while I'm talking. But even there, like what you saw me do in the previous kill is I kind of like drifted the fight towards the edges here, which meant that I could jump up on the ramps and I could kind of like just avoid the purple smoke like that. But you can jump over the purple smoke as well. You can also roll through it. So you can kind of like get good at it from a mechanical perspective and avoid it. Now you can see we're at the part now where I need to dip. So we're just going to go up here. There goes some smoke. So I avoided it by going up with the elevation. He's shooting me a bit, but I should be able to down him now. And boom, there we go. So it really is, you need to also just trust that your Q is hitting him. It hits as long as you're close enough to him. You don't have to be looking at the boss or anything like that. Your focus should be on staying out of shit and not dying. And if you do that, you'll get into the groove of doing this. There we go. That's a 38-second one. And that's kind of like what I'm aiming for. I'm happy with anything below 40 seconds because that means that we're getting the farm just right. And then we got another 66 of this done. So that's pretty much it. This is the methodology that I'm essentially, using to farm this. And obviously you also get those other materials that allow you to buy the cosmetics and stuff like that if that is something that you're into. I just managed to buy my backpack as well as my second outfit this morning, so super happy about that. But this is basically, I think, by far the most efficient way to just chew through this material, the farm for it, and actually get these core binders so that you can actually unlock your ultimate weapons. It's possible that the developer will make this grind less grindy, but I figured instead of waiting for that, I just wanted to figure out a way in which I can do it that, at the same time is not too hectic. Like I'll do like a half an hour and basically get one core binder and I don't know, then go fucking watch some TV or unwind or something, or have a beer, or just throw some series on or something and do that. Now, just to close out the video, I just want to say, how can you improve this? Like, if you have exactly this setup or something like that, but you're even a better player than I am, which is entirely possible. I'm not a fucking sweat in this game. And in situations where I'm faced with having to pick playing and getting like 5 out of 10 attempts successful, or play a little bit slower and a little bit more defensive but get 10 out of 10 attempts successful, I always go for the 10 out of 10 because I feel like it respects my time more. But that being said, there are things that you can do with this build to go to the next level. You'll notice that I have a HP mod here. Now, you can run this completely glass if you're really good at avoiding the damage and stuff like that, and it's possible to do, and I've seen some of my buddies do it. So the point is, you would swap this out for something like this. So you would change that out for Dangerous Ambush. Now, what Dangerous Ambush is going to do is, in that first phase, when you knock him down, you're going to be able to deal a massive amount of additional damage to him there, which means that while he's in his in-range window, he has far less HP, which means you can kill him a lot faster, which is important because that's the time when he's at his most dangerous. So this, I feel, is kind of like an all-in scenario, and once you have Ines all catalyzed and everything like that, you should absolutely give it a try if you want to see how it goes. This will increase your clear times by anywhere between 8 to 10 seconds. So you can actually get under 30-second kills with this. But like I said, it's super sweaty. And in the times that I've done it, I would say, by the way, the 50 attempts that you saw there, those were 50 attempts in a row. I did not fail once. Not once. Sometimes I died and I killed him on the second life, and those are the ones that you saw were over a minute. But I did not fail once. It had a 100% success ratio. Whereas when I tried it with Dangerous Ambush, yes, I got kills, but I got something like maybe I would say between a 60 to 70% success ratio. So I failed a lot, about 3 out of every 10, which was at that point in time unacceptable for me, because you fail very late in the run. So it's like you've wasted basically like that time, and then you just come up bupkis. So make your own uniform decision how you want to do that, but in my opinion, this is the safest way to do it, and it allows you to make 1 or 2 mistakes. You can get hit by the purple gas and survive it once with this fucking setup. And yeah, so the other thing as well is your reactor matters a lot as well. If you don't have a 5 out of 5 reactor, then your damage is not going to be as great as you saw in this video. So you should absolutely prioritize getting yourself a 5 out of 5. Of course, this needs to be electric and tech, because you are using Time of the Hunting Hounds, which makes all of our abilities tech. And then last but not least, your substats absolutely matter. Additional skill attack when attacking Colossus makes a big difference. So you should absolutely try to get this. You'll see that I have this on purple. Having this in gold is even better, so that's going to be more damage. And then your second substat needs to be either skill cooldown if you want either faster. You know, mine's on a 1.3 second cooldown if I'm not mistaken, which is pretty much, yeah, there we go, 1.3 seconds. So I think that's okay for me. I don't necessarily worry about it being lower than that, and obviously I can manage to get kills with that. So I opted for skill critical hit damage, which is another good substat just for raw damage. Electrical skill power boost is good as well. Tech skill power boost is good as well. So any of those subsets that I mentioned just now is really good on the reactor. So it would be additional skill attack when attacking Colossus, and then any of the other ones that I mentioned would do you well and will help you to put this boss on farm super easy, and you can chew through those materials and get your ultimate weapons ready to go. That's it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments if there's any questions about this, anything that I could kind of like elaborate on. This is pretty much what I'm doing in the game now 24/7 because I just want to get it fucking done. I think I need to do one more. I think I need to do one more core binder, and then I'm happy. Then I've done 7. So good luck with the farming. Get it done. Get those weapons good to go, because remember, then you still have to go do weapon cores as well. So good luck with that. And as always, fucking cheers.